So this is going to be a tutorial slash gameplay video for Crossfire, which is part of the Kickstarter campaign that we did for card games for $1, which you can find a rulebook for it in the description below and more about it on the website. So just keep in mind as we play this game, I'm going to try and play a full game through, and we're going to try and keep it as short as possible, just so you guys don't have to watch forever while still trying to keep all the rules in play. You're going to need 2 decks of cards for this, preferably ones with different backs, and maybe even ones with different fronts will help you be able to visualize them better. Ours have the same fronts just so you can see the jumbo font for it. This game is highly strategic. It's basically like a version of chess and StarCraft put together into one. So if you get confused during it, that's part of the game. There's just a lot of components going on. There's lots of different types of choices. So if you feel like you have any questions about it, please leave your questions either in the forum on the website or in the comments below. So let's get right into it. To start Crossfire off, what we do is we set up the play area, which is basically we're setting up this 5x9 grid. The way we do that is I'm going to be placing 2 cards of space and then 2 more cards, and my wife will be doing the same but turned the other way. She is going to be playing every card in this entire game this way, and I will be playing every card that way. So each of us are oriented either vertically or horizontally. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the base nodes according to our orientation. And we're just going to start laying down 5 cards following this same similar grid manner. Now none of us have had it, but if you have less than 3 numbered cards here, or if one of the cards is a joker, which you're going to want 2 jokers in this deck, then you can take all the cards, draw 5 new cards, and then reshuffle your deck. But we're good to go. So the next thing we do is we see who goes first, and the way we do that is we each draw a card, and whoever has the highest card goes first, which is me. Kings are 13s, queens are 12s, jacks are 11s. So I go first, she goes second. I got rid of a king off the bat, which is really bad for me, but I do have the upper hand because I get to go first. We're each going to draw 3 cards. At the end of our turn, we will always have 3 cards. At the beginning of our turn, we will always draw a card. So I draw a card. You know it's the end of your turn when you only have 3 cards left in your hand. So the goal of the game is for me to build links of cards together in the grid and make my way over to my wife's side of the area of the board, and then I want to capture one of her base nodes. And remember, these are base nodes. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use cards from my hand to power up the base nodes to create what's called powered nodes. And from powered nodes, we can continue moving forward. Now, from the way we build a powered node is we will take one of the nodes from the base node, and we're going to try and sum up a pair of 2 nodes to 10. So this is now equal to 10, and this is what's called a powered node. And that means from here I can continue playing forward. I am also able to just go ahead and lay down any other node here, which would either be like a queen or even an ace. And this is fine, but this node would be called what's called a dead node. And from a dead node, you cannot continue forward. You're stuck playing that. It's basically a defensive move. The only thing you would be allowed to do from a dead node is play another node card that would make these 2 be a powered node. So for example, a 9. However, because the base nodes are either dead or, well, right now they're all dead nodes, but they are base nodes at the same time, playing off of a base node with a dead node means I cannot continue forward with this node. It is dead. And so for that reason, off of base powered nodes, you really want to try and make a powered node like this. So enough talk, that's the end of my turn. I have 3 cards left, so it's my wife's turn. She's going to start by drawing a card. And then again, she will, oh look, we're perfectly mirrored here. But notice how she always plays things horizontally. So her turn's over, I can see that by the fact that she has 3 cards in her hand, so it's my turn. And at this point, there's not much I can do. I can't. What my goal is, just so you guys know, is to either lay down another 4 right here, so I can have 2 powered nodes, or what I could do is I could play a dead node right here, and then power it by putting another one right here, and that would be the powered link. So if I had 2 5s, for example, I could put a 5 there and a 5 there. Now both of these are powered. I don't have that capability, so one thing I can do is I can use what's called support nodes, and that's this row right here, this imaginary row. And I can take this 3, for example, and I can lay down a 5 underneath it. And at this point, this 3 can either be a 3 or an 8. So right here I can lay down a 2 or a 7. And that's the end of my turn, so it's my wife's turn. So there are neutral nodes on the grid area, and that is these 8 nodes that are turned face down. Neither one of us own it, but in order to actually move onto that node, we need to seize control of the neutral node. The way we do that is we attack that node. To attack a node, you lay down a card from your hand on top of it. At this point, you do what's called probing the node, and you look to see what it is. It's a jack. So the way it works is, another catchphrase is, attacking kings always win. Kings have a rank of 13, queens 12, jacks 11, and then aces are also 1s. And because she is attacking with her jack, she beats the defending jack, because attacking wins it. All she has to do is play a card greater than or equal to a defending card to beat it. Because she beats it, this has become what's called a seized pile, which means she owns both those cards, but right now she has to have 1 card there for it actually to be useful. So there's several things she can do in this instance. 1, she can just leave it there, which basically acts as a wall for her, and at any other time during her turn, she can do the other 2 things with it. The other 2 things are, she can completely remove the entire pile, take a card from her hand and place it there instead. However, she can't do that on her turn right now because she only has 3 cards. She would have to wait for her next turn. The other thing she can do is she can remove all of the cards except 1. So if she wants to keep a jack there, she can just keep a jack there. However, in this instance, that does no good. It does the exact same thing as having the contested pile stay there. So she's just going to wait. It's my turn. Alright, so I think I will do the same here. And, oh, this is a joker card. Joker cards, just for the sake of understanding, I'll talk more about them later, but right now, they have a defense of 0. So I automatically gain that card. And the other property of jokers, and they're very important, they're probably one of the most powerful cards in the game. To have them be one of the neutral cards is kind of disappointing. But I'm going to go ahead and just leave that joker card there, because what joker cards do is they act as a wild card. They will be any one number that you need them to be. Right now, I need it to be an ace, but I could also make it be, for example, a number that could help me out with this one. But right now, it's acting as an ace for me, so this would be powered so I can move forward. I have 3 cards in my hand, my wife's turn. So she did the last thing you can do with it. She took all the cards away and replaced it with one of her own cards. So one thing to keep in mind is this is a dead node right now, because the only way to be a powered node is if the sum of 2 cards power to 10. There is one exclusion to this, and that is the 10 card itself. The 10 card itself is a powered node in and of itself. From a dead node, the only thing you're allowed to play off of a dead node, and I should have explained this earlier, but you can play a card anywhere adjacent, up, down, left, right, of a node that you're trying to keep in mind. So for example, if she wanted to probe this node, she would be unable to. From dead nodes, the only thing you can play adjacent to them is a node that's going to make it powered. So she can play a 7 there, and that would be fine, but she cannot attack from a dead node. And so she is forced to not be able to do anything against this card until she powers this 3. Alright, it's the end of her turn. Notice how this one is powered because it's treated as an ace from the 9. I could also treat it as a 10, and in the instance it doesn't make any difference because that would be powered either from here to a 10 or from here to an ace and a 9. So either way, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to continue forward. It's a 2. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 2 just because the 9 has the better defense. And now I am making this one an ace, but notice here something interesting. It's actually connected 2 separate ways. I can have 9 ace be the powered node, and the 4 and the 6 be the powered node, or I can have the 4 and the 6 connected, and then from there, the 9 and the ace connected, which is what I think I'm going to do so I can continue forward. If I put an ace right there later on, I can have it switch. You can always have them switch, but you cannot have 2 separate connections going at the same time. For example, if I needed to power something over here and over there, I would have to determine which one is actually being used, this 9 or ace or this 9 or ace. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to my wife for her turn. I'm going to check something real quick too. Alright, so she lays down a joker. Alternatively, there is one thing you can do with the joker as long as it's in your hand. And that is, why don't you demonstrate this real quick. Instead of playing a joker there, what she could do is she can take the joker from her hand, take any card of hers that is out in play, and she can replace that card with her joker card. So why don't you replace one of your cards with the joker card, just as an example. So she replaces it. Notice how she still has 4 cards in her hand, so she can still play another card. This is a really good way in order to gain a king that you've lost before, or a 10, or other valuable cards off the board. So that would be a good way for her to get that 10 in that instance if she wanted it, since both kings and 10s are probably the most valuable cards besides jokers. So, but that being said, she'll continue with her first move. And so we know that they're connected. It's my turn. Alright, so I know I can play a 2 here because this has been powered to 8 to powered node. Notice how she can now play that because she played the joker. It's a 4, so she beats it. And she's going to leave the 8. Alright, so it's my turn. Something to keep in mind, a strategy here is, just so you're aware of my cards, I have 2 royals which are dead but very powerful. Good ways in order to beat neutral nodes or to attack an enemy. Right now we can't attack each other because we're not near each other. I also have 2 10s which are very useful for pushing forces. So right now kind of what I'm going through is if I want to make my way over here, I have to have 2 lanes open at the same time so I can have them both powered, because only from a powered lane or powered nodes can you actually attack. So if I was just to move forward this way and trying to keep moving forward, I would need to continue to lay down 10s to do so to stay in one lane because they are continually powered. Otherwise I would need 2 cards to power, which is why you'd have to have a pair as this, as you cannot power this way as you move forward attacking. So I'm in a bit of a pickle because I'm not to that point yet where I want to kind of dive straight into something with my 10s, but I don't want to get rid of my royals either. So I'm just going to play a 10 and try and chisel my way forward there. But this also gives me an opportunity to attack both of these as well and open up more opportunities for me. Alright, she plays down her second joker. Alright, so I'm going to start chiseling my way through. And I'm just going to lay down a queen right here. on top of her card, which means I'm attacking her now. It is her turn, and on her turn, she has the opportunity to defend this card. I'm the attacker, she's the defender. So in order to defend it, she actually has to play down a king, because that's the only thing that can beat an attacking queen. She laid down a queen, the defender does not defend it. So it's my turn. I'm going to go ahead and play an attacking king, and like I said before, an attacking king always wins. So I'm going to win this, what's called a contested pile. Notice how she didn't have to play anything there, she could have played somewhere else. As soon as the attacker or defender stops playing on a contested pile, or the contested pile has an attacking king on it, this is now a seized pile, and it's under my control. So she cannot lay another card on top of it, but she didn't have to play down that king last turn either. She could have avoided it. So this is a seized pile, and what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is I'm going to replace it all with another 10. Oh, I forgot to draw. Alright, so I'm trying to bore my way into here, which is usually pretty foolish, because now she can directly attack me, and I don't have anything to keep moving forward, so I'm kind of banking on the fact of trying to get another joker. Alright, so one thing that's good to keep in mind as a general strategy is you want to try and fill up your area as much as possible. An empty area is a free opportunity for someone to make a dead node into a powered node. As long as she fills up this side of the table, this is very difficult to get past. So it's my thought process to start moving this way, because I can start moving away over there. Easily I can play a 5 there. There's nothing she can do to counter it next turn, because she cannot play there. But she can start playing there if she wants to as well. She can also ignore my attack if she has good cards to defend, and just start her own attack straight down the line, which is also possible. Alright, so she didn't beat it, so she leaves it there, and she leaves it flipped over like that. Anytime one of us can check out what that card was again, but we know that she didn't beat it, and so I can contest it, she can contest it, but we know it's a 9. Alright, so I made the foolish mistake of placing the 5 there, even though I didn't have another 5, so I'm kind of stuck at the moment. However, what I can do is I can attempt to attack and take over her joker. So I took over her joker, which means I'm going to leave just the joker there, which for me is acting as a 10. So I have 2 pairs going together, so I can now pretty safely move forward. I foolishly used my 7 again, even though I have a 3 to work with it. But I will try and press forward with this attack. She's going to defend against it with a queen. I'm going to let her take it. Alright, sorry about that. We had to actually skip forward a little bit because the camera stops recording after 20 minutes, and we didn't catch it. So, but I think it's really good just to have it this way anyway. We continued the battle back and forth. I was able to seize control of the 7, 3, the joker here, and the 10. She's did a good press this way. And in the moment, I attacked this pile a lot that she was trying to get a hold of, and I got a lot of her higher cards out. In the same time, I was trying to attack her base node here, and again trying to get her all her high cards out, and I was able to get her to lay down her king as a defense there. So at this point, it's just my goal in order to attack and seize control over one of her base nodes, and that's all I need, and I have 2 options to do so at the moment. So I just drew, and this is my hand. I can barely play against this card, and I'm just hoping that she doesn't have anything to play against it. because that 10 could be useful over here if I wanted to start attacking this way. So she doesn't have anything to play against it, and so that means that I seize control of that, and that's the game over. So just some general strategies about this game and things you can expect as you play. This game can take 10 minutes if someone just rushes you one way, almost as if she's done here. And if you're focusing on this side as well, like, you can easily be swarmed. That's why I recommend not having a complete gap here in an area. Instead, try to fill up an area with cards as much as possible. And that way they have to get through it. Even if perhaps one of those cards are dead, if you still have a strong... So if this card is dead, it's fine, because if I have cards up here that are powered, like this for example, I know those are powered together and I can continue moving forward. This isn't really important for me except for as a defense. It's better to put something there instead of just leaving it blank, so she has to work her way through each card. Keep in mind though that you don't want to waste your highest card on an attack, especially if you're drawn out high cards from them and you're about to finish the game, which is what I did here. I didn't waste my 10 on trying to seize this. I simply just laid down as small cards as I possibly could. There's also a 4-player game of Crossfire, which requires a table about this size, and it is a lot longer and a lot more extensive, but it's a great game if you're playing with people who know what they're doing. Consider it pretty much like chess. You have to learn it and practice it a lot in order to be good at it. But there is a lot of strategy to it, and there's a lot of tact to it once you get moving forward, and you can learn a lot about the game. I'm just going to repeat it one more time, but as you can kind of see now, sometimes it's a mess to try and figure out what's happening. I highly recommend getting 2 different colored cards for the front. But you definitely need it for the back, because when we clean up, we have a mess of cards out here that are all different colors, and you're going to need to keep track of it. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know if you have any questions. But thank you guys.